Hello, esteemed gentlemen. Some men refuse to be tamed, not out of arrogance, but because they understand the cost of chains. Sigma males, enigmatic, magnetic, and quietly unstoppable, exist on the edge of society's rules. While most men chase validation through love, attention, or conformity, the Sigma male operates in a different dimension, one where independence is not just a preference, it's a survival strategy. Here's a fact that will make you pause. Studies show that the most independent men are twice as likely to remain single into their 30s and 40s, not because they can't find love, but because they refuse to settle for anything that compromises their freedom, vision, or identity. And yes, sometimes that means they avoid relationships like a cat avoids water, leaving the world confused, intrigued, and slightly annoyed. But for the Sigma male, it's not about playing hard to get. It's about playing life on his own terms. Number 1. Internal standard versus external availability. Sigma males have an internal compass that guides almost every aspect of their lives, and this includes the people they allow close to them. For most men, the world offers an abundance of options, and relationships are pursued almost like a numbers game. Date enough, settle for something good enough, and hope it sticks. Sigma males operate differently. They have a set of standards so exacting and deeply personal that very few people even come close to meeting them. These standards aren't about superficial appearances, social status, or what someone can do for them. They are about alignment with values, intellectual depth, emotional intelligence, independence, and the subtle, almost invisible traits that define character and energy. To a Sigma male, compromise in these areas isn't a minor concession. It's a step toward losing himself. He's not looking for someone to fill a void, fix a problem, or make life easier. He wants someone who resonates on a frequency that matches his own, someone who challenges, inspires, and respects the boundaries he set for himself. This is why so many Sigma males remain single. It's not because they can't attract people or fear intimacy. It's because the pool of individuals who meet their internal standards is incredibly small. And rather than lowering the bar to fit what's externally available, they simply wait. This approach can make them appear aloof, cold, or even impossible to approach. But beneath the surface is a relentless commitment to authenticity. For a Sigma male, it's better to walk alone than to walk with someone who dilutes his vision, distracts from his purpose, or undermines his sense of self. Every interaction, every connection is filtered through this internal metric. If a person doesn't meet the criteria, even if society insists they should settle, they won't compromise. In a world that encourages convenience over compatibility, this unwavering adherence to internal standards is radical. It's a quiet rebellion against the notion that happiness can be achieved through just anyone. For Sigma males, life is too precious to waste on misalignment. They are not single by default. They are single by design, fiercely protecting the integrity of their inner world while quietly waiting for the rare few who truly belong. Number 2. Emotional economy overload. Sigma males treat life like a ledger, and relationships are no exception. Every interaction, every commitment, and every emotional exchange is measured against an invisible scale that weighs cost versus value. Unlike most people who often follow their heart blindly or chase romance because society says they should, Sigma males analyze the emotional economy of a connection. They ask themselves, consciously or not, what am I gaining? What am I sacrificing? Is this interaction worth the energy I'm investing? If the answer is skewed toward loss, if the emotional toll threatens their freedom, focus, or personal growth, they don't hesitate. They simply walk away without guilt, drama, or second guessing. For a Sigma male, emotional energy is more precious than money. Every ounce spent on someone who drains, limits, or distracts him is an ounce taken away from self-mastery, ambition, or the pursuit of excellence. He doesn't fear being alone. In fact, solitude is often a safer, more profitable environment for him. This is why many Sigma males remain detached in situations where others might cling, beg, or compromise. The cost-benefit analysis of emotions is always running in the background. Love, connection, or companionship must justify the investment, or it's not worth the account balance. What makes this especially fascinating and frustrating for the outside world, is that Sigma males rarely explain themselves. There's no argument, no confrontation, no emotional pleading. They simply vanish from situations that no longer serve them. This isn't coldness, it's strategy. By maintaining emotional discipline, they protect the only resources that truly matter to them: time, focus, and inner peace. In a culture that glorifies romantic sacrifice, this approach is almost rebellious. While others equate commitment with personal validation, Sigma males treat it like a business decision: high risk, high scrutiny, and only justified when the reward aligns perfectly with their life's trajectory. They aren't callous, they're calculating, and their refusal to overspend emotionally ensures they remain whole, powerful, and untethered. For the Sigma male, love is not a necessity. It's a luxury. And luxury is only worth the price if it doesn't compromise freedom, identity, or purpose. Number 3, fear of losing intellectual autonomy. For a Sigma male, his mind is sacred territory. Every thought, idea, and curiosity is meticulously guarded, because he knows that intellectual autonomy is not just freedom, it's identity. Unlike many men who seek validation through agreement or social harmony, Sigma males operate on the principle that their thoughts belong to no one but themselves. This is why relationships often trigger hesitation, even when all other factors align. Romantic involvement frequently demands compromise, negotiation, or even subtle surrender of perspective. For a Sigma male, this can feel like a slow erosion, a subtle chipping away of the very thing that makes him exceptional. It's not arrogance, it's precision. When someone asks him to bend his views or temper his curiosity to maintain harmony, he experiences it as a trade-off that rarely justifies the price. Relationships have a way of introducing external priorities into the mind space he has spent decades refining. Suddenly, mental energy that was devoted to exploration, strategy, or self-mastery is siphoned into arguments, explanations, or meeting expectations. Over time, what begins as minor concessions can quietly accumulate into the loss of intellectual independence. Sigma males sense this erosion instinctively, and, rather than allow it to happen unnoticed, they often choose distance or avoidance. This isn't a rejection of love, it's a defense of self. Intellectual autonomy for a Sigma male is inseparable from identity, creativity, and the power to think without interference. Without it, he risks becoming a version of himself that is externally molded, diluted, or distracted. Unlike most people who see compromise as natural in relationships, he sees it as a slippery slope toward a life that isn't fully his own. Ironically, this makes him rare, intriguing, and sometimes frustrating to others. He's not aloof because he dislikes connection. He's deliberate because he refuses to surrender his mind for the sake of comfort or companionship. Intellectual freedom is his playground, his laboratory, and his sanctuary. If a relationship threatens that, he will step back without hesitation. For a Sigma male, the mind is not negotiable. Any connection that risks compromising his intellectual autonomy is not worth the cost, and he will guard it fiercely, even if it means remaining alone. Number 4, anticipation of betrayal. For Sigma males, trust isn't given lightly. It's earned, scrutinized, and tested because they understand, often from experience, that betrayal is more than a minor inconvenience. It's a violation that chips away at freedom, clarity, and control. They operate with a heightened sense of perception, noticing subtle inconsistencies, unspoken agendas, and energy that doesn't align with words. This ability to detect potential threats before they materialize makes them cautious in ways that can seem extreme to outsiders, but for the Sigma male, it's survival. Emotional intimacy without absolute certainty of loyalty is not a risk, it's a liability. Many Sigma males have witnessed, firsthand or indirectly, the fallout of misplaced trust. They've seen friendships dissolve into manipulation, alliances crumble into envy, and romantic connections turn into cages. This history cultivates a mental framework where emotional vulnerability is not a given. It's conditional, contingent on repeated evidence of alignment, respect, and integrity. To expose their inner world recklessly would be to gamble with something they value more than approval, affection, or convenience: autonomy. It's not cynicism, but strategic foresight. Sigma males know that betrayal rarely announces itself. It creeps in through small cracks, a lie here, a subtle manipulation there, a disregard for boundaries. By the time it becomes visible, significant damage may already be done. They've learned to read the signs early and act preemptively, which often translates into keeping relationships at arm's length until trust is proven beyond doubt. This approach can make them appear cold, distant, or unapproachable, but beneath the surface is a fiercely protective mindset. Their caution is a shield, not a barrier, ensuring that when they do allow someone into their inner circle, it's deliberate, calculated, and deeply meaningful. In a world where emotional honesty is often traded for convenience, Sigma males are unusually meticulous. They will not compromise on trust, because the cost of betrayal is too high. Emotional intimacy is reserved for those who have demonstrated unwavering alignment with their principles. Anything less isn't worth the risk, and they walk away without regret, knowing that their loyalty is valuable and their mind and heart are not playgrounds for careless hands. Number 5. Fear of stagnation. For Sigma males, stagnation is the silent killer of ambition, creativity, and purpose. They thrive on challenge, growth, and the continuous expansion of their world, and anything that threatens that movement feels suffocating. Relationships, even those framed as love or companionship, often create what they see as a soft comfort zone. Daily routines, predictable dynamics, and emotional complacency, while comforting to many, can feel like invisible chains to a Sigma male. Comfort, in this context, is not a reward, it's a trap. Sigma males are allergic to the subtle decay that comes with settling. Even when surrounded by affection or stability, they instinctively notice the slow erosion of potential that comes with predictability. They fear that over time, soft comfort will dull ambition, quiet curiosity, and constrain the freedom they have fought so hard to cultivate. Unlike most people who view routine as security, Sigma males see it as a compromise, one that sacrifices growth for convenience. This fear is not born from distrust or cynicism, but from foresight and self-awareness. Sigma males recognize that human energy is finite, and the investment of time, attention, and emotion must produce value, not just for survival, but for expansion. Relationships that create comfort without challenge are inefficient in the economy of their life. They prefer the unknown, the unpredictable, and the occasionally uncomfortable, because it keeps their mind sharp, their focus intact, and their trajectory upward. Ironically, this fear makes them magnetic. Their refusal to settle signals autonomy, intensity, and high standards, which draws curiosity and respect. Yet, despite the allure, they rarely engage without ensuring that any connection aligns with growth, challenge, and the preservation of freedom. To compromise on this principle is, in their eyes, a slow imprisonment of self. For a Sigma male, comfort can be dangerous. It lulls, it softens, and it dilutes potential. Relationships that demand surrender to routine or emotional complacency are avoided, not out of fear of intimacy, but out of an uncompromising commitment to evolution. Stagnation is the enemy, and Sigma males will walk alone rather than allow it to take root. Number 6. Self-mastery before shared life. For Sigma males, the foundation of any meaningful life is self-mastery. They understand that before they can share life, energy, or purpose with anyone else, they must first build a life that is fully their own. Personal evolution is not a hobby or a side project, it is the core of their identity. Unlike most people who often seek validation, comfort, or companionship first, Sigma males prioritize the cultivation of skill, mindset, and freedom above all else. Relationships are secondary, not because they are indifferent to connection, but because they know that anything less than a fully realized self undermines both life and partnership. Self-mastery for a Sigma male involves rigorous discipline. It means understanding one's desires, weaknesses, and principles to a level most never reach. It requires investing time, energy, and attention into building autonomy, refining thought, and honing the ability to navigate life with precision. Only once this internal architecture is established does he consider inviting someone into his world. To engage prematurely, without a strong sense of self, risks dependency, compromise, or dilution of purpose. Consequences he refuses to accept. This approach makes Sigma males appear selective, distant, or even cold. Most people misinterpret their independence as a reluctance to love or connect, when in reality, it is a protective mechanism. They are not avoiding relationships. They are ensuring that any engagement happens from a position of strength, alignment, and clarity. Emotional, intellectual, and practical equilibrium is non-negotiable before merging life with another person. Ironically, this dedication to self-mastery enhances their magnetism. Others sense the confidence, independence, and completeness they exude, creating intrigue and respect. Yet, despite the allure, Sigma males remain patient, knowing that rushing into shared life without mastery would compromise both parties. For a Sigma male, the equation is simple: life before partnership, mastery before merger. By prioritizing personal evolution over immediate connection, he ensures that any relationship he enters is not a distraction, a drain, or a compromise, but a union of equals who contribute to each other's growth. Anything less is a waste of energy, time, and potential, a trade he will never make. Number 7. Strategic energy preservation. Sigma males understand one unspoken truth that most people ignore. Emotional energy is finite, and it's the most valuable currency a person possesses. Every interaction, every obligation, and every relationship has the potential to drain it. While many expend this energy on social validation, petty drama, or romance that doesn't serve them, Sigma males are deliberate. They know that giving away emotional currency carelessly leaves them weakened, distracted, and vulnerable. This awareness drives their behavior and shapes their reluctance to enter relationships casually. They view life as a strategic game, and energy is the resource they cannot afford to squander. Romantic relationships, by their nature, demand constant negotiation, compromise, and emotional output. For most people, this is a given, a trade-off they accept without thought. For Sigma males, it's a careful calculation. They ask themselves, often subconsciously, does this interaction increase my power, skill, freedom, or understanding, or does it drain me without returning value? If the balance tips toward depletion, they walk away, often before anyone even realizes the distance growing between them. This isn't coldness or selfishness, it's mastery. Sigma males preserve energy not to avoid connection entirely, but to ensure that the energy they do invest produces tangible growth and results. Time spent navigating emotional turbulence or catering to someone else's whims is time stolen from self-development, mastery of craft, and expansion of influence. They know that being emotionally overextended reduces clarity, slows progress, and diminishes the impact they can make in the world. Interestingly, this approach makes them magnetic without effort. Others sense the economy of their energy, the careful calibration of presence and focus, and it draws curiosity, respect, and sometimes envy. Yet, despite the intrigue, Sigma males remain selective. They understand that most people are blind to the cost of energy they impose, and they refuse to become a bank for emotional deposits that yield no return. For a Sigma male, energy is power. Preserving it is not optional, it's essential. By reserving emotional output for pursuits that truly matter, they ensure that every move, every decision, and every connection serves their freedom, their growth, and their long-term vision. Anything less is a waste, and Sigma males are not in the habit of wasting life. Number 8. Aversion to emotional noise. Sigma males operate in a realm where mental clarity is sacred. They prize focus, precision, and the ability to navigate life without distraction. Emotional noise, drama, jealousy, passive aggression, or unspoken expectations is the antithesis of that clarity. To most people, these aspects of relationships are normal, even unavoidable, and they accept the chaos as part of love or connection. Sigma males see it differently. They recognize emotional turbulence for what it truly is: entropy. It disrupts thought, diverts energy, and erodes the sense of control and composure they work so hard to maintain. In relationships, subtle chaos can be insidious. A misplaced word, a jealous thought, or a fluctuating expectation doesn't just exist in isolation. It reverberates, affecting decisions, focus, and long-term vision. Sigma males are acutely aware of this ripple effect. They've learned that engaging in emotional noise, even out of loyalty or love, is an investment with uncertain returns. The mental cost often outweighs the perceived benefit, and unlike most, they refuse to pay the price. This aversion isn't born from coldness, it's born from strategy. Sigma males understand that peace of mind is a resource, one that fuels creativity, decision-making, and self-mastery. They see relationships that thrive on drama and hidden tension as slow leaks in the structure of their lives. By avoiding these situations, they preserve clarity, focus, and the ability to act decisively in all areas of life. Interestingly, this doesn't make them incapable of emotional connection. It makes their connections rare and intentional. When they do engage with someone emotionally, it's because that person contributes stability, insight, or growth rather than chaos. They seek alignment, not attachment for the sake of attachment. In a world that glorifies emotional turbulence as passion or excitement, Sigma males quietly reject it. They refuse to let entropy dictate their lives, their focus, or their decisions. Emotional noise is a threat, and they treat it as such. For them, relationships are not worth the compromise of clarity and composure. Mental peace, after all, is more valuable than drama, and Sigma males are unwilling to trade it for anything short of exceptional alignment. Number 9. Fear of identity dilution. For Sigma males, identity is sacred. It is not something that can be borrowed from, or diluted without consequence. Every habit, thought pattern, and personal principle has been carefully cultivated over years of introspection and self-mastery. Sharing life intimately with someone else inherently carries the risk of losing some part of that carefully constructed self. Most people view compromise as a natural part of relationships, but for Sigma males, merging with another person without precise alignment feels like an erosion of individuality, a slow bleed that can go unnoticed until it's too late. They understand that intimacy is not just about physical or emotional closeness. It's about alignment on every level, mental, emotional, and often spiritual. Even small mismatches in values, priorities, or energy can accumulate into a significant shift, gradually reshaping who they are. Sigma males refuse to allow their identity to be shaped by someone else's expectations or unconscious habits. They protect themselves fiercely because once identity is diluted, it's not just autonomy that is lost. It's clarity, power, and the unique perspective that sets them apart. This fear isn't born from insecurity or ego. It's born from experience and foresight. They've seen individuals compromise too much for the sake of love and end up unrecognizable even to themselves. Sigma males take no pleasure in that trap. They would rather walk alone, whole and untethered, than merge imperfectly with someone who doesn't fully respect, understand, or elevate their individuality. To them, relationships are not inherently enriching. They are high-stakes negotiations where identity is the ultimate currency. Ironically, this intense protection of self makes them magnetic to those who truly understand value. People sense the integrity, autonomy, and strength in a Sigma male, and it commands respect. Yet, despite the allure, he remains selective, knowing that very few people can engage with him without threatening the core of who he is. For a Sigma male, remaining whole is non-negotiable. Identity cannot be diluted for comfort, convenience, or societal expectation. To compromise it is to compromise life itself, and Sigma males are unwilling to make that trade. Solitude, independence, and self-alignment are far more valuable than a relationship that risks losing the essence of who they are. Number 10. Attraction to the unreachable. Sigma males are naturally drawn to challenge, enigma, and the unfamiliar. They thrive on mystery, the thrill of uncovering layers, and the satisfaction of understanding what others overlook. Predictability, on the other hand, is the enemy of their curiosity. Most relationships, by design, offer routine, repetition, and emotional predictability, a comfort for many, but a slow erosion of stimulation for a Sigma male. The spark they chase is not found in easy answers or repetitive cycles. It lives in the unknown, in the tension between what is and what could be. For a Sigma male, the pursuit of the unreachable is not a game of ego. It's a way to keep life vibrant. A relationship that provides consistency while seemingly secure often feels like a cage. It limits exploration, dulls curiosity, and constrains the intellectual and emotional expanses they crave. They are not inherently dismissive of love or intimacy, but they instinctively resist situations that reduce life to routine. Predictable companionship, even when comfortable, threatens the very energy that makes them unique and magnetic. This attraction to challenge also explains why Sigma males often appear selective or aloof. They are not interested in what's easily attainable or simple to navigate. They want connections that push boundaries, force reflection, and inspire growth, not complacency or habitual convenience. Anything less risks draining the intrigue from life and replacing it with monotony, which they cannot tolerate. Ironically, this makes them fascinating and enigmatic to others. People sense the tension in their presence, the unspoken distance that hints at depth and complexity. Yet, despite this allure, Sigma males rarely engage unless the challenge aligns with their principles and preserves the spark of curiosity and growth. They understand that relationships are not just emotional or social transactions. They are ecosystems that can either amplify life or dilute it. For them, being drawn to the unreachable is a matter of survival for their spirit. They refuse to settle for comfort at the expense of excitement, mystery, and self-expansion. Predictability is the antithesis of their drive, and maintaining the spark of life requires constantly seeking the extraordinary, even if it means walking alone. Number 11. Resistance to time theft. For Sigma males, time is more than just a measurement of hours. It's their most sacred resource. Every minute is meticulously accounted for, devoted to personal growth, mastery of craft, exploration of ideas, or pursuit of independence. Relationships, no matter how well-intentioned, often demand a type of attention and energy that cannot be replaced. Even small everyday obligations, texts, calls, plans, expectations, can accumulate into what they see as a theft of their most precious commodity. Unlike most men who may view such commitments as normal or necessary, Sigma males instinctively recognize the cost and weigh it against the value of the connection. They have learned that time stolen is rarely reclaimed. Moments spent navigating emotional obligations, social conventions, or relational friction are moments lost from self-mastery, long-term strategy, or personal freedom. This is why they are highly selective with who and what they allow into their schedules. Relationships that demand disproportionate energy or compromise their routines are not just inconvenient, they are threats to their autonomy and trajectory. This is not born from coldness or inability to connect. It's born from discipline and foresight. Sigma males understand the compounding effect of time, how consistent, focused investment in self or skill yields exponential returns. Sacrificing hours to accommodate someone who cannot match that rhythm is, to them, not just inefficient, it's incompatible with the life they are building. The result is a cautious approach to intimacy. Sigma males rarely rush, rarely conform to external timelines, and rarely allow others to dictate the flow of their days. They are drawn to connections that respect their rhythm, add value to their growth, or allow mutual expansion, rather than those that consume and drain without purpose. Ironically, this resistance to time theft makes them enigmatic, magnetic, and often misunderstood. People see the boundaries and perceive aloofness, but the truth is far more strategic. Protecting time is protecting life itself. For a Sigma male, every second matters, and they will not surrender it lightly. Relationships that infringe on their temporal sovereignty are avoided, not out of fear of intimacy, but out of uncompromising respect for the one resource that cannot be replaced, time. Number 12. The mystery tax. For Sigma males, mystery is not a gimmick, it is power. Their presence carries an unspoken magnetism, a tension that draws attention, respect, and curiosity without effort. But there's a hidden cost to being known, explained, or decoded. What could have been intrigue becomes ordinary, and what was magnetic becomes mundane. Sigma males are acutely aware of this mystery tax. Every layer of themselves they reveal diminishes the aura that sets them apart. Relationships, by their very nature, demand exposure, explanation, and compromise, elements that slowly erode this precious tension. Unlike most, Sigma males do not view transparency or predictability as a virtue. They understand that the very thing people chase, access to their mind, attention, or presence, is also the thing that can neutralize the influence they cultivate. Being pursued relentlessly, having their motives questioned, or being decoded like a puzzle strips away the allure that makes them magnetic. To avoid paying this subtle but devastating cost, they often distance themselves from relationships entirely. This isn't about hiding or being deceptive, it's strategic preservation. Sigma males measure influence like a currency. Once they expend it recklessly, it cannot be regained easily. Emotional exposure, constant explanation, or relational negotiation all draw on that currency, leaving them less dynamic, less compelling, and less free. Avoiding relationships is a calculated move to maintain their edge, keeping the magnetic tension alive and intact. Ironically, the very restraint that protects them amplifies their mystique. People sense the distance, the independence, and the untouchable quality in their presence, which only intensifies attraction. Yet, despite the fascination they generate, Sigma males remain non-committal. They refuse to trade autonomy, intrigue, or influence for connection that demands explanation or emotional transparency beyond what they are willing to give. For a Sigma male, the mystery tax is real. Every bit of himself he exposes has a price, and many relationships ask for far more than he is willing to pay. Preserving enigma, influence, and the quiet power of being unknowable is not optional. It's a necessity. To compromise it is to dilute the very force that makes him exceptional, and Sigma males are unwilling to make that trade. No, Sigma males are not single by accident. They are single by design. Every choice, every boundary, every instinct that keeps them from conventional relationships is rooted in strategy, autonomy, and self-mastery. They operate on a level where emotional economy, intellectual freedom, and personal evolution are non-negotiable. Relationships are not avoided out of fear or deficiency. They are avoided because the cost is often too high. The potential erosion of freedom, identity, curiosity, and clarity is simply unacceptable. From protecting their mental energy to preserving the magnetic tension that makes them irresistible, Sigma males have mastered the art of selective engagement. They reject mediocrity, refuse emotional dependency, and avoid stagnation, all in service of a life that is fully theirs. Every connection is measured against standards few can reach, and only those rare individuals who align with their vision, intellect, and values earn entry into their inner world. This is not coldness, it is precision. It is a rebellion against conformity, a refusal to surrender autonomy, and a commitment to a life of depth, challenge, and growth. Sigma males move through the world like rare currents, unseen yet felt, deliberate yet unpredictable, magnetic yet untouchable. They understand that love, connection, or companionship can enhance life, but only when it complements mastery, freedom, and evolution. The truth is, Sigma males are extraordinary because they refuse to compromise. Their independence is their power, their solitude is their sanctuary, and their standards are the invisible architecture of a life few will ever understand, but many will secretly envy. To follow their path requires patience, clarity, and an unyielding commitment to self over society, and that is exactly why they remain both enigmatic and unstoppable. For anyone seeking to understand them, one lesson stands clear. Sigma males are not defined by relationships. They define the terms of engagement, the value of connection, and the cost of intrusion, and in doing so, they craft a life that is truly exceptional. If you found this deep dive into the mind of Sigma males eye-opening, don't just scroll past. Hit that subscribe button and join the community of thinkers who value clarity, independence, and self-mastery. Like this video if it challenged what you thought you knew about relationships. Share it with someone who needs to see the truth, and comment below your thoughts or experiences. Your engagement helps us keep creating content that dives deeper than the surface, and together we uncover the truths most people ignore. Stay sharp, stay independent, and remember, your time, energy, and freedom are priceless.